So, guys, welcome to Atrials Havoc Den. I'm William, and today I am here with Josh and Danny from the Obsidian Resurrection. How are you guys doing?
Pretty damn good.
Good, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. And also, Josh is the founder of Metal Inc., which is become a behemoth. It's so cool to see how well it's taken off. I really like it. And we'll get into all of that. But I guess to begin with, guys, like, how did y'all meet and what was the beginning of Obsidian like? Like, what's the roots of Obsidian?
It was a cold, dreary evening.
Yeah. Yeah.
Danny and I, we told this story a few times now. We pretty much met at work. We all, though not all of us, but at that time, like half of us worked at Round Table Pizza.
Yeah.
But Danny knew Dimitri prior to that, though, from school. They knew each other before they met me, though. So I met them while at work. We were just discussing metal bands over just constant like conveyor belt line of making pizzas, just trying to beat that mundane aspect. Like, okay, let's talk, so start talking about music,
I got you. So, like, what do you guys play in the band, by the way?
I play bass.
Bass.
And I play keyboard, synthesizer, and a little bit of cello.
A little bit of cello. All right, that's badass. So,
fuck?
who are y'all's influences?
Well, it's kind of eclectic. Personally, I have a lot. I really love Young from Dream Theater, Justin Chancellor of Tool. I try to bring that into what I play, but since we're a lot heavier than those bands, I just really love basically anything from Dying Fetus whenever I'm jamming out to the heavier stuff. Dying Fetus, a lot of Marduk as well. Twin Obsidian, they really butter my biscuits sometimes when I'm jamming. I've been relearning a lot of their stuff because back then when we were active still, I knew a lot of their stuff, and recently I've been trying to relearn some of their old stuff. And I even reached out to Danny recently. He's like, dude, remember that one riff from Twin Obsidian? How did they do that? And like he and I both love Twin Obsidian. Danny and we share a lot of influences, Danny and I.
Mm-hmm.
But personally, that's me. Kind of going on the cheesy level, my dad inspired me musically. But as I developed my own, I got into the heavier stuff. So that's me. I like a lot of that. The brutal death metal, a lot of the brutal black metal. But yeah, that's about it. Those are my main influences. Cliff Burton's up there too, obviously.
Oh yeah, and he's a legend. It's a shame, but for what he did with the little time he had, it's legendary, and his style is badass.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's a beast. Yeah.
So Danny, what about you?
Well, I got into keyboards really listening to Moonspell. Their first album, Wolfheart, there's a particular song on there with a keyboard melody line, and I don't know, it just hooked me. Right, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to play for an instrument. I knew I wanted to play something, but I wasn't sure. And guitar, nah, I'm good. Bass, no. Drums, no. I was just trying to figure my shit out. And finally, I don't know, I was just listening to this particular song called Erotic Alchemy. I've said this before, and it just, the melody line to it, I was like, that's it. It just clicked, right? That's it. So definitely them. But I would say I'm really big on Arcturus as well. I really like their keyboardist, Steiner. So he's a big influence on some of the stuff that I do. Obviously, Demu, Mustis, he's fantastic. He's just great. He does a lot of good work with his keyboards. And there's some there's some a lot of classical music I'm really into as well. Bach being one of them, Frederick Chopin.
Right.
I I can't play their pieces. It's beyond my skill level, but I do really love listening to them, especially Chopin. A lot of like use a lot of minor keys, minor key signatures. That's my thing.
Oh, and it's
know?
badass, and I like all of that. I haven't heard of a few of the bands you've mentioned, but like it sounds like they're worth checking out. And I know like keys and cello and stuff like that, they add an otherworldly sound, or not otherworldly, but a cinematic sound to metal.
Sure.
That is like that's the kind of stuff I like whenever I hear that kind of stuff. And
Cool.
I need to indulge into more of it, to be honest with you. So you guys have both been with Obsidian since 2005, right?
Earlier than that.
Earlier. So like the band kind of started 2000, 2001 maybe.
I know I was fresh out of high school.
Yeah.
I graduated in 99, so I think it was like 2000, 2001, yeah.
Yeah, because Dimitri and I we met sophomore year, and then I think it was like, could have been late sophomore or junior year when, we actually all got together and started, meeting in a garage and just trying to jam or just try to put something together, and it just kind of, evolved, I guess you can say. Our biggest problem in its early stages, we never had a drummer. We just
that's one of the hardest things to find. If you find a good drummer, you keep him. You do everything to keep him.
Yeah.
You hold him hostage.
Yes, for real.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'm genuinely curious. This is a definitely for me question. As for all of Atrial, see, our favorite band growing up, and it always has been Slipknot. You guys were in the prime era, graduating, going through high school, it seems, of when they were just starting. Did y'all hear about them, and what was the take on them from guys who are listening to metal at that time? From like going into or like high school to just getting out of high school, that age frame. I have to know for my own guilty pleasure here.
Well, okay, so like with me, that's kind of how I got into metal. I didn't know anybody else who was into it. I just kind of discovered it myself. Freshman year is when I started to get into music, on my own. So like I got into Korn, the Biscuit, Slipknot. I'm just trying to find my way. I'm just trying to find my way.
Yeah.
And so, but it's like I started, back in the early days of, the World Wide Web, the internet. You didn't have a whole lot of resources. There was a couple of websites. One of them was called The Gauntlet. The other one was called blackmetal.com. So anyways, listen to Slipknot, and I was just trying to find more. Where can I find more music? And then I think I was just thinking about this earlier. I think one of the first like underground death metal bands I heard, it was Deeds of Flesh.
I've never heard of them.
Yeah, they're underground.
Excellent.
And they have, and the first song that I saw or heard was a song called Lustmord. And I heard it and I was like, what? this totally sounds different from I would like go back and forth between like that and Slipknot, and I'm trying to listen to like the music of each. And These are Flesh. They're fucking brutal death metal, machine gun blasting. There's a lot going on with their guitar playing, drums, and then you go back to Slipknot, and it was, obviously with them being more mainstream and whatnot, it's like this is totally different stuff. This shit is fucking heavier.
Yeah.
And it kind of snowballed. I discovered a lot of other bands through both websites, Twin Obsidian being one of them, Moonspell being one of them, Malevolent Creation being another, Opeth being one of them. Some others, man. I try to find like a sound clip of them, because even back then it was hard to find their music.
Right.
They just didn't have a whole lot. So that's kind of how I got into death metal, black metal, extreme metal, underground shit. That's how
it's just the natural progression of just trying to find. You listen to something heavy and it makes you feel something, so you just gotta. I think that's with a lot of us guys.
You want to find more.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. I was like that for a little bit of time trying to find heavier and heavier. And then for me, it's like I ended up always coming back to the bands I kind of started with. And I always thought the heavier and heavier stuff was cool and it was fun, but I just kept retreating back to the, you know, Slipknot, which they are heavy, but you know, my era is considered trash to what you guys had. I mean, I like literally my high school days were like Asking Alexandria, Black Veil Brides, and like all these other bands that were just, they were big in that 2009 to 2015 era. And I mean, they're still big, but like it's a whole different thing. Like you guys have legendary bands that y'all kind of were able to grow up with.
Oh, we still had our garbage to deal with, man. Like in our time, there's, I don't know if you know of them, but what the hell is it called? Him.
And
oh God,
His Infernal Majesty.
Yeah,
I think is what the
our drummer would be hating this. Oh, that's his favorite band.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah, I dealt with that in high school because I was into actual goth metal. Like Typo Negative was one of my jams. I fucking loved it.
Yeah.
And then this new crap comes out with Him. Sorry, but
I know it's okay. I don't care.
They're trying to claim that they're goth metal. I'm like, no, you're not, dude. What the hell is this crap? You know?
So weren't they more emo? Weren't they more like emo?
More emo,
yeah.
Stuff. Yeah.
Something that I can picture the vampires from Twilight listening to.
Right. Yep.
That's a pretty good call there. And by the way, I don't hate to say it. Asking Alexandria and Black Veil Brides, I loved them. I loved them a lot growing up. I was a secret, but I actually really did like them. And you know, as I've gotten older,
we all have our secrets, man.
It's fine. It's fine. It is what it is. It's just the territory of whenever you're growing up and what you're listening to.
Absolutely.
Gosh. So tell me about the first EP you guys have that you did. What was the process of making that? How long did it take for you guys to come up with? And why nothing else after? Because that shit was so good. I don't think you guys understand that. Like, I loved the EP you guys did that I was sent on Soundplate a while back.
Oh, thank you, man. That's cool of you to say. So here's that. Technically, I guess is not our first EP. We have something prior that has no drums on it.
Okay.
And we recorded that to try to find a drummer. So no drums on it. I tried looking for it amongst my collection. You know, I've got a binder case of like just random CDs from way back in the day, whether it's like, you know, backing up files from my computer or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I can't find it. I don't think anybody else has. I have no idea what could have happened to it. But so so we used that to try to find a drummer, which eventually it did pay off.
Right.
So there's that. But the EP that you hear was recorded in our friend's garage. He had a little mixing station, and we just kind of did it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
We had that, and see, afterwards we had those 3 songs, plus we had a couple of others, but we decided just to go with those 3 songs because they were more complete, I guess, than the others, I suppose. I don't remember. I don't remember, but so that was done in 2005, and then eventually, you know, we started playing shows, and then at some point, Dimitri, he moved back to Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
And so at that time, it was like it would be very difficult to try to be in a band and actually tour and be successful at that time. It's not like how it is nowadays, where technology has just really progressed to where you can be in different parts of the world and still have a band together and just put out material, be able to communicate, you know. Back then it wasn't like that. It'd be more difficult. So eventually we parted ways with them. We tried to find a replacement, but it just didn't happen. And eventually the band was dissolved in like 2006 or something like that. So and then and from that point up until last year, almost a year ago, there was just a gap of just nothing,
Well, what was the comeback? What made you guys kind of reconvene and say, let's do this again?
So
go for it.
Okay. Sorry, Josh. About a year ago, Alex and I were messaging each other, and because I'm up here in Washington, Josh and Alex are still in California. I still like to keep up on, friends that are down there, and I'll message them every so often. So I messaged Alex and we started talking. Started talking about music and whatever, and then he said something about, it'd be great. He still thinks about wanting to do the Obsidian, material,
Yeah.
CD, because we do have enough for a full length album. And it's funny because I was kind of thinking the same thing. In fact, I was gonna bring it up at some point during the conversation, but he kind of beat me to the punch. So I was like, yeah, dude, I'm down, man. I mean, and we were talking, and then I pretty much knew Josh would be down. I sent him a text. I sent Dimitri a text. I sent Ned, our other guitar player, who's he's no longer in the band because he just couldn't make commitments to it. But
yeah,
I sent him a text as well. So eventually everybody got on board with it, and it's like, awesome. We're gonna actually do this. So, and that's how it was resurrected.
Resurrected.
Yeah. So that's it, man.
Well, did you guys do anything musically during that time, like yourselves, or with any other projects?
Oh yeah, we all did our own stuff. I want to rewind a bit and help you out with more of that. The first demo Danny mentioned.
Yeah.
The main purpose we made that first demo, we didn't have a drummer. That first demo had no drums. We were literally just recording, and we used that to pass out to show people that, hey, this is our music. We need drums to it. Can you play to this? That still didn't help us for the longest time, but that's why we made that first demo, because a lot of people, this is like our third or fourth time doing one of these things, and a lot of people might be wondering, why the hell would they make a demo without a drummer? We made one to try to find a drummer,
Yeah.
That's how hard it was to find a drummer back then, because you still have the same problem nowadays. When you find a drummer, they're usually in 2 or 3 other bands,
Exactly.
But we were all doing musical stuff after Obsidian. I was a band horror for a while. I was in a band called Heresy, Zombie Death Stench, Burial Domine, The Monolith, Demon Reich. I was in a ton of bands. I helped a band called Dark Cathedral for a little bit. It felt good playing, but it never felt right because Obsidian's always been our baby. I think that's kind of how a lot of us feel. Like, it was fun doing music with all of our other friends at the time, but it just didn't feel right. Because not only was Obsidian our baby, but in the back of our mind, we're going, we have a whole fucking album just collecting dust that we aren't doing anything with. It sucked. So
did you also feel like it was better than what you guys were playing in at the time? The material that you had for Obsidian?
Well, that's the one thing, because you're kind of biased, because when you're in your first band, that's your baby. Actually, yes. Obsidian was my second band. I was in a band called The Prophecy before that. But Obsidian was the one where I really took root, and that's like, dude, this is my shit. So yeah, anything that came after Obsidian not only didn't feel right, it just didn't sound good to me. Like, a lot of the times I was doing this stuff to help other friends out also. So a lot of it wasn't even my music. So yeah, nothing personally to me sounded as good as Obsidian did, or the Obsidian Resurrection.
Right. Goodness. I feel the same way about like Atrial and stuff like that. Like I started in one band. We were called Formal Denial, which was more of a Breaking Benjamin style band. Which it wasn't really my thing. I wasn't the one writing the music for it. I was just in it. And then, I just kept talking to my other friends who are in Atrial, and I was like, we need to just do something. And then we just went for it. So I see what you're saying in terms of like you having your baby and like always wanting to kind of go back to it and stuff. And that's why I want to keep going with this, and not, I don't want to have that feeling. I want to push for it and give it everything I have. And thankfully, even though like I'm in Nashville and our bassist is here in Nashville with me, everybody else is in South Carolina, we're still able to do stuff, and it's not too far to where it's impossible. So we have scheduled shows to where it's like South Carolina to Nashville and everything. So it's kind of like starting one place, meeting, and it works for us. But I see what you guys mean. So, yeah. But yeah. So Danny, what about you? What about any projects you were a part of in between?
After Obsidian, me, Alex, and buddy Nate, we formed a band called Imperium, and we came out with a demo, the 3-track demo. But that's just, you know, it lasted for, gosh, maybe a year and a half, maybe, and then it just kind of, and then it dissolved, and then after that, it wasn't until let's see here. I tried out for another band that was located in the Central Valley called Rebel's Mother. They had lost. So this is during Obsidian, so I was kind of doing both, you know, and so they had lost their keyboard player because he just wanted to pursue classical music.
Yeah.
So they wanted. They asked me if I wanted to, you know, jam with them. I was like, sure, I'll jam with them. So I did that for a while, but it didn't last very long. I got, you know, we jammed maybe like, I don't know, the 3 or 4 times, and that was pretty much it of that. And then afterwards, I want to say back in 2014, about 2014, Alex, you know, our drummer now, he had started another project with a good friend of his, and it's called Lunar, which, you know, Alex still does. That's his thing. That's his solo project. Back then, it was him and friend Ryan, who played guitar and sang, and they wanted me to play keyboards on their EP, on the EP, and I was like, yeah, I'll do that. So it's a 3-song EP, and, you know, we recorded that, and that was actually, you know, less than a year before I moved up to where I'm at now in Washington from California, you know. So and then afterwards, after moving up here, man, I haven't done anything. In fact, you know, I moved into an apartment, small ass bedroom. I couldn't fit my keyboards in there, man. So that's actually the reason why I got into cello, because it's like I want to still be musically active to some extent.
Right.
You know, I play. You know, again, I'm not playing guitar or bass. I'm not going to pick up the violin. I'm not going to do that. And then I thought the cello, and it's like, you know what? I think that's what I'm going to do. So I picked up an electric online, came in a kit. You know, it's a hell of a lot cheaper than trying to buy an acoustic and not wanting to do it. And now you're out, you know, a couple $1,000 minimum, you know. So I picked up this cello, and I started taking lessons, and then, yeah, that's how I got into that.
I get that. Our drummer Christopher, he was a drummer. Like, you know, me and him, we actually started playing drums together whenever we were like young. We had the same drum teacher, and, you know, I eventually started playing guitar more, and that's what I stuck with. And then when I went to college and we wanted to do something, he was in an apartment and couldn't play drums. Right. And I was going to school for music stuff in South Carolina. So I had a drummer that I could work with, and he wasn't a metal drummer, but he happily did the trick. And so we taught our drummer, Christopher, how to play bass. We taught him for months. And it was like thankfully our first little EP we did, that's the only time he played, we made it super simple, and it was very easy. But I know what you mean. Like, you having to pick up something else because it's just the situation. You're wanting to play music.
Right.
But yeah. I mean, you just gotta keep on.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. What's next for you guys? Do we have any timeline on the new material currently?
We're aiming for this year. That's the goal. As far as new music, we're not sure if we're going to go the route of releasing a single. I mean, the discussion has been had, but we're still really not sure what we're going to do. But we do have a full material album that we're going to be releasing hopefully this year. Yeah, there's really not much I can say right now because we're still in the middle of the recording process. You know, like I just finished my bass, a week or two ago.
Right.
Alex's drums are done. Danny's got a couple songs left. Dimitri is, I think, tweaking one of our songs, and then he should be ready to go for recording guitars. As far as I know, we have all the vocal arrangements set for the songs, but that can change at any time, you know, because once the songs are recorded and you hear all the pieces, you're like, maybe we can do something cool with the vocals like this, you know, that can always change. But you know, the pieces are there. They're gonna just have to be put together. We have some few surprises we're gonna announce later on about the album too, but all the pieces are there. It's just our goal is hopefully this year, you know.
I gotcha. I'm looking forward to it. Like, I think you guys should definitely release a single or two beforehand to hype it up, because I mean it's been years coming. Like, just that gradual just boom. Like it'll be cool.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have something like fresh.
Something new. Like Danny and I are so goddamn tired of this demo.
Dude, you have no idea how tired we are of this fucking demo, man.
Same 3 damn songs.
I get it. But you guys obviously, like, I mean, Obsidian's gonna have an audience from the get-go, like, because of, like, I mean, I guess this can transition a little bit into the metal incorporated stuff. Like, what you kind of built there, Josh, is it's a really solid community and interesting concept that's taken. It's changed as time has gone on, and there's gonna be a lot of people listening. And a lot of people from all over. So it's going to be cool to see what happens for you guys. Like, and you're not just starting with normal people listening. Well, you are, but you're having musicians and other people who have different types of connections and different things. Like, it's going to be interesting. I'm really excited about that. So how do you feel? Like, are you surprised? I guess you shouldn't be surprised if you put a hell of a lot of work into it, but like, how do you feel about Metal Incorporated where it's at right now?
It's been a journey, dude. Like, I just recently revealed my latest major speed bump to our group chat. This would be like the 6th or 7th iteration of my plan, my goal, my idea, my dream of what I want this to be. I was kind of screwed over on a lot of things. And I kind of felt like I was at my wit's end recently, because I straight up asked the group, what ideas do you have for me? My ears are open. I need help. You know, like shit just keeps either getting in my way or people keep screwing me over and taking advantage of me. And I'm sick and goddamn tired of it. And luckily, some individuals, did we time out? What was that?
It was some type of thing saying some type of 40-minute thing. We're okay. I believe it's still recording on my end.
All right, we'll just fix that. So
I'll cut it.
Luckily, of the latest chapter of BS I was going through a couple weeks ago, a few people in the group reached out to me personally, and they are helping me. And we now have a roadmap guideline to push Metal Incorporated into what I want it to be. And this is honestly, it feels right this time around, because I'm actually talking to people who actually get it. Because the people I was talking to before seemed like they wanted to be like very business oriented, and like it felt like it was greedy to me. And I'm like, that's not what this is about, dude. I kept having to reel them back. I'm like, no. This is about the bands. Like, stop, you know. But this time around, it feels more organic, and it feels like we're all on the same page. So there's going to be some big announcements from Metal Incorporated once we get the details ironed out as well. I can't talk about it now.
Yeah.
But things are going to happen, and it feels good this time. It does. But it's been a trip seeing it grow. It's only been 7-8 months, I think. Well, February was a short month, and it's already almost over, so we're going on 9 months. Yeah. It has grown leaps and bounds, and it's going to continue to grow because of all the ideas I have in here. they're gonna happen.
I'm ready to see where it goes. Like I remember when you first sent me that message and trying to set it up, and it was cool. And so fast, it just
Like
became
that.
overwhelming.
Yeah.
And and truth be told, it's like I don't know who's talking. I don't know where this is going. I'm gonna like just if you send me a direct message, I'll do whatever. But anybody else, I do not know. So I'm just gonna hold off. So I'm glad to see it's gotten legs and you were able to navigate it. Like, cause that was it probably got a little wild pretty quickly. And I don't want you to have to get into all the stuff if you've been screwed over a few times. I could only imagine what's kind of transpired there.
Oh, there's been times where I just needed a punching bag right then and there just to take my frustration, just get a picture of that person's face and like, boom, But
well,
yeah.
I mean, what bands are a part of it that you didn't think? Like, I remember there was one band, I cannot remember the name of it. They were pretty big. It was like, who are the bands that you've kind of looked up to that have joined or been a part of it in some way?
I'm sorry, I think my phone broke up. What was the question?
Who are the bands who have joined Metal Inc. that you didn't think you'd ever talk to them in that way, like or that you've looked up to?
Honestly, I've said this before in the group chat. Scarab, I love Scarab. My friend Sam introduced me to them long time ago, and I just reached out to them just on a whim, and sure enough, that same night they joined. I love Scarab. I own all of their albums. That was a really good one. The ones that I'm glad joined early on, because they also kind of helped me. Like, I was a complete noob with social media. I'm a dinosaur. I don't fuck with social media really. I use Facebook to piss off people and stay in touch with my family, friends and family who aren't in the area. I'm a shit poster. But so bands like The Cage in Your Head, Vocor, Sadistic Force, Moloch, the OG bands back then, Zach from Mortal, Mark as well.
Mm-hmm.
They taught me the ins and outs of Instagram and how to do things nowadays. And they also taught me about how to really promote your stuff with DistroKid and things like that. And that's what got me seeing, okay, there is a community nowadays still, it's just different than what I'm used to, because we're used to doing it in person. Like back when Obsidian was playing shows, we would go to our local shows and pass out other bands' CDs, demos, their flyers for their upcoming shows, and they would do the same for us, like a community. And since we're not a live band, we don't really have that. So I kind of wanted to form that in a way with Metal Incorporated, and that's when I reached out to those bands. And then that's around the time you hit me up, because you said you liked what you're hearing and you brought up your playlist, and that's how we kind of started meshing and talking. And so that's how I kind of formulated my ideas with Metal Incorporated. I was like, well, since I can't really do the street team thing right now, like we did back in the day, it would have to be an online thing. And the wheels just started turning, and I just got my notebook out and started scribbling. And slowly but surely, all of my ideas are coming to fruition with it. And Metal Incorporated is going to be a place where it brings fans and bands together like nothing out there that I've seen. I've done my research since I started this. There's one or two that are close to what I'm trying to do, but when I look at what they're doing, I'm like, dude, you can do so much more. So I'm going to do that so much more with Metal Incorporated. And I'm also going to use it to help bands. It's going to be like how I've been calling it, their own Batman's utility belt, so they can be their own band manager. They don't got to pay for a manager. All the resources will be right there for them to use.
I like
stuff
that.
like that. So there's a lot going on, and it's just going to be baby steps. Like, I had a really important phone call last night with those people I mentioned that are helping me now, and nice 4-hour-long conversation. We got a pretty badass game plan. It's going to be baby steps, but we have our goals set, and it feels like we're going to meet them because the know-how is there and the passion is there and my vision is there, and they see that. And I think it's going to be awesome.
I'm really excited to see where it goes. And I don't know, it's cool to see how it's grown so far, and I don't know, let's see what happens. But I don't want to I want to ask so bad, like, what are your plans for it and stuff like that, but I don't want you to give anything away. But is there anything you can say?
I can mention some stuff. We're going to be working on the website, obviously. That's going to be there. We're also going to be making an app to have the website as an app as well.
Mm-hmm.
On that website and app, I'm not sure if you've seen it in that group chat with the thousands of messages a day sometimes. On the website, there's going to be a way where bands can live stream and they can interact with their fans. They can interact with each other. Like if you guys want to do an online gig or jam session together online, you guys can through like a streaming on there. We're going to have fans do competitions for unique items for Metal Incorporated with all the sponsors I've been talking to for the collaborations, like the Obsidian hot sauce.
I was about to ask. That was one of my next questions. I was going to ask, tell me about that.
Stuff like that you can win just by being a part of Metal Incorporated. There's going to be also bigger prizes that the fans can win. It's up to the band, of course. They'll have to agree if they want to do it or not. Some of the bands are already on board with it, but a fan can say they can submit their best guitar solo, or their best fan art, or their best chops, their best riffs. And we are going to do live reaction videos to those, and we'll choose a winner, and they could either be in the band's music video, or they can be featured as a guest musician on one of their songs on an album, things like that. We can come up with more ideas for grand prizes and stuff, but that's going to be a part of the website. It's going to be a place where bands can put all their touring information. The bands can interlink and play shows together with it through that website. It's gonna be like a central hub, where everyone's kind of chilling out, hanging, doing their own thing, but mingling together. It's the website's gonna be a central hub. It's gonna be pretty cool.
That would be really cool to see, like, everybody like register on there. Like, I know for like Atrial, like, we book all of our own shows and stuff, and that is the hardest part. And reaching out to bands in different parts of different states, like having to find bands, and then bands drop off, and it's hard to find bands who are really committed. And I would love to see where that would go, with that being like a central metal hub. Like everybody kind of in the metal community kind of gravitates to just kind of, get to know each other, build each other up, feature on each other's stuff. I know for a fact that features are going to be like one of the biggest things in terms of like growing audiences, like exposing each other to new things and new, like, that's just the way to do it. And even we've talked about trying to do that with other projects and stuff like that, but I don't know. We'll see. I do want to ask, my next question was going to be about the hot sauce. Where did that idea come from, and where can we get it? Is it available now? How's that going?
Oh yeah, it's available now. It's selling really well, actually. It's called the Blood of Mankind from Mr. G's infamous hot sauce. The artwork is a play on one of our songs called Unholy Retribution. The lyrics are part of our songs as well. The recipe is actually one of my own. I've always used a similar recipe to this for meats. I love it when I'm grilling ribs. Mm-hmm. This recipe I kind of just throw together, and I base my ribs on the grill. It's fucking awesome. But when that idea came about, I was like, I can totally turn that into a hot sauce with this guy. So I reached out to him. But actually, I should rewind. Gorilla Wizard, one of the bands in Metal Incorporated, fantastic guys, great music. He's friends with this guy, and they have their own hot sauce through him, which is also really tasty. And that's how that idea came about. That kickstarted my idea of partners and sponsors and collaborations for unique items to help the bands get more unique merchandise, Right. And so that's when I reached out to him. Actually, I reached out to Gorilla Wizard first, and then they introduced me to him. And then I said, hey, you want to do collaborations with, like, at that time, I think there was only 70 bands. Now we're up to like 150. But I told him, what Metal Incorporated was, and asked him, like, he wants to do any band collaborations for, the have their own unique hot sauce, and he was totally down with it from the get-go. And that just kick-started the idea, like, we're cool with the true metal grilling guys. Metal bands can reach out to them, and they can actually collaborate with them to make their own barbecue grilling rubs, spice rubs.
Right.
I'm cool with the Sky High Scoville pepper farms. They're actually helping out this guy with some new peppers for his hot sauces. Six City Breweries is my friend's brewery. He's opening soon. He's going to be collaborating with us so bands can make unique beers with him. We got Headbanging Wines in there to make unique wines for the bands. Just really cool, unique items, that kind of merchandise that's like, hey, this is not exactly something that's going to be in our merch booth, but you can get through our merch store, but it's still something you can collect for the bands if you're a fan of, you know?
Okay.
So just another way to help these companies and the bands get another way to get their stuff out there, let people see them, you know?
Yeah. Other ways to be seen, other ways to monetize, which we hate talking about it, but bands,
it's the nature of the beast.
It's expensive for bands to do things. It would be nice to not have to always come out of your own pocket to pay for these things.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I was gonna ask or say I have one more question for you guys. I ask all my band members this. You guys are the first ones I've actually like been able to interview. I was supposed to have another one, but you guys are the first interview outside of my band that we've had, and I'm stoked it's you guys. For the Obsidian Resurrection, what are your realistic hopes and what are your biggest dreams for it in terms of where this next project will lead you? What will happen? What are your dreams for this project? Like, it can be crazy, like to the moon. Do it.
Danny can take this first, and I got to think about that.
Everybody thinks that you think about playing on stage in front of people and stuff like that.
I'm not trying to put you on the spot, Danny. Don't want to put you on the spot. And by the way, this wasn't coordinated. I just realized we're both wearing beanies. This wasn't planned.
I always have my beanie on. Always.
Hey,
I wasn't feeling my Irish flat cap. I decided to go with the beanie.
Gotta go with the beanie sometimes, man. Man, as far as like hopes, I just hope that we're able to continue after this CD, honestly. Just try to, on a realistic level,
mm-hmm.
You know, I would like to keep playing music with, you know, the band. That's yet to be determined, but
hey, I get it.
Yeah, you know, because it's the studio project, and you know, so we'll see what happens with that. Yeah, that's where I'm at with it, man. Honestly,
hey,
I haven't really thought like 10 years down the road or anything like that.
Hey, it doesn't have to be.
You know what I'm saying? So
right.
that's just kind of where I'm at. What about you, Josh? What do you think, man?
You kind of pretty much nailed it. I would like to continue after this. That's yet to be determined, though. It would feel good because going back to this band being our baby, it feels comfortable. It's like, you know, slipping into that warm bed and being comfortable again, you know, like it's cozy. I would like to continue it. The immediate goal, honestly, just to get the music out there, but like, I want to see people's reaction to it, because we've seen their reaction to the old demo that's like 20 plus years old, and it's literally quite shocking seeing all the positive. I mean, we've had our share of negative reviews, like
everybody does.
Everybody
does. Everybody gets negative reviews. I get negative comments daily. Just about it happens.
Yeah. But the positive reviews have far outweighed those, and it's been kind of insane because this music, I guess it's really aged well. That's other than the production, because we literally just plugged in and recorded. We have no mixing, no post-production.
Mm-hmm.
Like something Danny and I have always said in these past interviews with other people is we were a young, hungry band. We just wanted to get in and record because we didn't have a drummer for like 4 years. and we had all these songs without a drummer. And when we finally got a drummer, we're like, learn this shit right now. We want to record, you know? And literally Alex stepped up to the plate and he knocked it out of the park. He impressed the hell out of us, and he did it. He did a fantastic job on the demo. And so knowing people like that old material, I want to hear how they react to those songs now, because we're giving this album the full studio treatment. It's going to be something we're not going to release this until we're all 100% proud of it. But just going by off of what we share in our group chat, because we share tons of files back and forth, because, you know, we all live in different states. And going by what we hear in our group chat and the files we send to each other for feedback from each other, some of the shit we've been listening to, we're like, dude, that shit gave us goosebumps. You know, like, I want to know what people think of the new material. And that to me will be satisfying. If we don't continue as a band after this, that's fine, as long as I know people like what we did. But I would like to continue as a band, since we're just an online studio project. Yeah. I don't see why we couldn't.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't really get in the way. I mean, it kind of gets in the way of our personal life, but not too much to where it's overbearing.
Yeah.
If you're passionate about it, you've got to make time for it. Right. Otherwise, it will drive you nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, we're not playing live, so we don't have commitments to scheduling, planning a tour with bands, this and that. We're not going to do that. You know, it's just, if we were to continue, you know, guitars would be written or whatever, and then they're going to be programmed using Guitar Pro, you know, and then from there, that'll be our scratch track. So then, you know, we'll all have copies, and we all just kind of work on our own parts and just kind of go back and forth, kind of like what we're doing now.
Right.
You know? So.
Like, yeah, I was supposed to wait and record my bass until the guitars were done, but I'm like, bro, I'm ready now, you know?
So yeah, you know, this is like my first time dealing with like MIDI guitars, and my mindset of before actually starting this whole process was like, I'll just wait until the guitars are done, recorded, and then I'll go off of real guitar.
Yeah.
But you know, but then upon like after listening to the songs on MIDI guitar, you know, it's not so bad. But then when Alex recorded his drums, that really like changed my outlook on it. It's like, you know what, I can write to this stuff. It doesn't bother me one bit. It doesn't, you know, so that's kind of, that's what we've been doing, man, you know, so, and it's going to be so satisfying when after Dimitri lays down his guitars, being able to hear real guitars over what's a MIDI file right now, you know? So, and then his vocals, and then it's going to be, I think it's going to be awesome once we hear everything together for the first time, you know? So
feels like the first
it's going to be awesome, guys. And I know going back, you said like, oh, you know, people are acting like this hasn't aged and stuff like that. It's because it hasn't. I feel like metal is one of the only genres where music just doesn't age at all. Right. It's like something made whenever metal was like Black Sabbath. They're one of the, they are still just as relevant in metal today as they were when they started. So
absolutely,
like metal is just one of those things. And that's what's great about it. So what you guys put out then is just still just as relevant now. And I believe that once you guys put out this project, I know the response is going to be good. I feel like it's going to be. I mean, just if that EP is that good and this is going to be a studio quality, it's going to be bangers after bangers after bangers. And I don't know. I just feel like you guys are going to be motivated to do more no matter what. You're be like, they like that. Well, we got this. So like,
right.
I think something cool is going to pop off. And I really hope that things keep moving along as best as possible. Same goes for Metal Inc.
You know, something I've always been wanting to say on these interviews, and I finally have a chance to say it. I'm going to quote Jason Newsted. This album is going to be all thriller, no filler.
As it should be. That's a good quote. I like that.
Yeah. But yeah, both of these it's really exciting to see how not only Metal Incorporated is growing, but Obsidian, because we're all older, and watching us grow as musicians in this group chat, it's really interesting. I've said this before. We don't have that band room, obviously. Our band room is the chat group. So the magic is kind of different. But knowing that we still have ways to hear what we're playing, it's interesting seeing us now as compared to back then, because it just seems like we have more clarity on what we want these songs to be now, you know? Like back then, it was all pure energy and raw. We're retaining that pure energy and that rawness. In fact, one of the songs, it became more beastly. Like one of our songs is just, it's faster. Mm-hmm. It's recording that song. I felt like my arm was going to explode. I was like, no.
I know that feeling.
Like my left hand was just like, oh my God. But, you know, doing it nowadays when we're more mature, it just feels, it's more chill, you know, it's more comfortable.
Well, I'm excited for you, and hopefully it being a relaxed environment, it'll make it even better. There's not the pressure, hopefully isn't.
That's what it is. The pressure's not there.
Yeah.
Being a studio band, you kind of have your own schedule, you know?
Yep.
Pretty much. Yeah. As long as you like keep some sort of goal inside or a deadline, not strict, but something that keeps things moving forward. You know, you don't want to keep pushing stuff back and procrastinate because it ain't ever going to get done yet. You know, so you're going to have to hold each other accountable for time, you know, so, and that's fine. You know, things are slow, but they're moving. There's progress. You know,
and that's what's important, is always seeing it moving forward slowly but surely.
Sure.
Wait, guys, I just want to say thank y'all so much for coming on here and giving me a great interview. Like this, y'all are the first ones, and I think, man. For the metal community, for the metal community, I think you guys are a great representation for it, and I'm excited to see where you guys go, and thank you so much, Josh. Thank you so much, Danny. Thank you, Obsidian Resurrection. Thank you, Metal Incorporated. And y'all have anything else to add?
No, we just want to thank you for having us on, man. Greatly appreciated.
Of course.
It's enjoyable, man. Enjoyable.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for having us, and thanks for everyone that's been out there listening to our music, downloading it, helping us out with everything we ask and present to them. And if they do happen to buy some of this hot sauce right here, any little bit we sell goes towards our band fund to help us with our recording costs. Because recording is expensive, so we're making royalties off. That's another way Metal Incorporate's helping the bands too. They make royalties off of things like this.
Yep. So there's the hot sauce, the Blood of Mankind, the hot sauce. Check it out.
You heard him, guys.
It's very scary because it's delicious and it makes you want more, but you realize this is fucking hot, you know.
Well, hopefully you'll get some recurring customers pretty quickly then.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Well, guys, I appreciate y'all and thank y'all so much. And thank you guys for coming on to Atrials Havoc Den.
All right,
appreciate you.